What's going on, everybody? So, man, this was so crazy in class today, and I just got to share it with you guys. I've been telling you guys little stories here and there that have happened in the class, but this one was really crazy. So, I got my son and my daughter in the car with me, so don't mind them. They'll be in the background or whatever. But I'll wait for a couple people to log in, because this really blew my mind. And what's so crazy is, like, one of the guys caught me in the hallway the other day, and he's like, man, I didn't know about the stuff that you're posting on Facebook and social media. My friends been sharing you and stuff like that. And then there was another sister as well, that she kind of recognized me, so they know what I'm about. So today was so bad, right? Like I told you guys, since I've been in the schools, they're very liberal. They lean one side, I hear feminist talk all day, LGBTQ talk all day long. And then they preach evolution and things like that, like it's facts and things like that. So anyways, let me tell you what my teacher did. We're talking about mental disorders, right? My teacher gets in front of the class and she said, if I stood in front of you and I told you that God spoke to me, and I'm here to save you guys, you know what I'm saying? What would you think? And then immediately, like, the class was like, oh, we'll think you're crazy, blah, 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 blah. And so when she said it, I made eye contact with one of the girls who was sitting in the back, because it was like, man, this is like crazy. Like, usually it's more, they try to compare like religion. And she obviously, I don't think that she, believes in anything. She's probably an atheist, but they try to compare religion in a way to like horoscopes and things like that, but they won't come out and just say, oh, it's crazy or whatever. But today she got in front of the classroom and she stood there and she said, if I told you that God was, speaking to me and I'm here to save you guys, you guys would, think I'm crazy, right? And so, man, she got to talking about mental disorders and stuff like that. And she was talking about, to be fair, she said, about it being appropriate in society or appropriate in culture and stuff like that, right? So I was sitting there, and I knew some of my classmates were kind of looking at me, and I wasn't going to say anything, and I put my hand up. And so here's how it went. I said, okay, so what about the LGBTQ thing and what's going on in California? I said, they passed a law where, you can't go to a psychologist or something like that with this gender conversion therapy, right? So if somebody says, oh, I'm a man, but I've been having these thoughts that I want to be a woman, you cannot go in California and sit down with somebody and they try to help you get over that, because the LGBTQ community finds that offensive. So I said, what do you think about that? And so, of course, she started giving me the whole spiel. Well, that's how he feels, and the science behind it, right? Here's the key part. The science, first she said that's what he feels, right? And I said, okay, but there was a locker in front of me. I was like, what if I feel that this locker is a fridge? And she's like, well, that's not the same thing. So then she tried to get scientific about it, right? And one of the questions that I asked her, it really made me feel like I was in a movie, right? This is how bad it is in Chicago. It felt like everybody else was robots. And then when I said what I said, it was like that movie, I, Robot, like they knew, like, this guy doesn't belong here, let's attack him. So one of the things I asked, so who is the one that, pretty much says what you're teaching us is the truth? Who is the one that's pretty much saying, like, this is normal thinking and this is abnormal thinking and this is a disorder and this is not a disorder? Because she was talking about how she put a picture of Lady Gaga up, right? And she said in our society, and Lady Gaga was looking crazy, she said in our society, this is normal, right? Because she's an entertainer. And I said, hold up. I said, I've seen interviews of Nicki Minaj and Beyonce admitting that they have split personalities, right? And this other side of them is coming out when they get on the stage, but that's not who they really are. And then, like, she kind of looked at me kind of funny. And so she tried to explain the science of the LGBTQ thing like this. She's like, well, there's men, right? And the reason they feel like they're women is because there's like a chemical imbalance in their body. There's some things that are not functioning right and things like that. And so I said, okay, but with schizophrenia and other, diseases, there's a chemical imbalance there. And we classify that as a disorder. So why wouldn't we look at a man who's feeling like he's a woman because you say there's some kind of chemical, mess up on the inside as a disorder. She said it's not. This is exactly how she's from. She's like, it's just not. I was like, what do you mean it's just? She was like, it's just not. It's just not. I was like, why? And when I asked her why, she's like, we can talk about this later. We can agree to disagree. But she couldn't give me an answer. And then I even went to, the whole evolution thing, because she teaches biology. No, well, not biology. What is it? Anthropology or something like that. And then she's teaching all of that stuff. So, it's clear where her mind is at. So, but the thing is, they teach it like it's a fact. And if anybody speaks against it, they look at you like you're crazy. So this is what happened, right? I'm sitting there and I like, so who says that this is right and stuff that you're teaching? Who's like the deciding factor with that? And everybody in the room was like, science. Like they almost barked it at me, like they wanted to preach at me. And then I looked and I said, science doesn't explain everything though. I said, how is it that the earth, is the perfect distance? I gave him that little spiel. The earth is the perfect distance from the sun, right? That we don't freeze, we don't burn up. We just so happen to have water and oxygen, the two things that we need to survive. Look at our digestive system. Look at our lungs. Look at our reproductive system, right? Look at all that stuff. And you mean to tell me all of this is an accident, right? Something went in the sky and all of these little chemicals and all these little molecules just started coming together, and that just somehow it just works so perfectly. Somehow my heart just knows to beat. Somehow I have emotions and cry. Somehow the earth had everything that we need to actually sustain ourselves. It's accident upon accident upon accident upon. It's not even an accident. What they really believe in is a miracle. Man, you should have seen how my class was looking at me. And I said, and the thing is, science doesn't even prove everything like you say you do. It's a theory, but you're in here teaching it like it's right. You know what I'm saying? But it's not even really all that. What really gets me is how they push the LGBTQ thing. Like, it's just a fact. Like, it's kind of scary to me. And I told them, so I don't go in there trying to bash or be mean. I say, look, I love everybody. I respect everybody. I have these real conversations, and people are going to get in their feelings. I got a homeboy, I think he's watching right now. His name is Tyler Burns. We do not agree on politics, period. But I respect his views. He respects my views. You know what I'm saying? We see things a little differently. And what's so crazy is we can talk it out and still be cool. Why can't Christians be like that? And that's how Christians should be. You don't go, being ugly and mean with your views. You do it in love, and you do it in a respectful way. And in today's society, you need to do it in an educated way. So a lot of people, I talk to them, and they respect me because they're like, all right, he's kind of smart. He's not an idiot. You know what I'm saying? You see my kids just popping their heads up in the back. They are so well behaved, man. I love them. But, they sit there and they hear it from an intellectual, point, and you do it in a respectful way, you do it in a loving way, and sometimes you get them to see it a way that they didn't see it before. Let me ask you this. Why do they have Victoria's Secret model kids, right? 1 second, Pa. Victoria's Secret model kids, like little kids dressing in lingerie. Why do they have these grown men dressed as women in drag queen clothes twerking in the library in front of kids? Let me tell you something. There's a side of people out there who believe that stuff is acceptable, but they also believe that it is their job to force it on you, to indoctrinate you. And that's why I talk about the politics. That's why that stuff is important. And so there's a group of people, they're saying, you know what, we don't want to offend anybody. We don't. So to get votes, to get the seat of power, we're just going to accept all of that stuff. That's why you won't see them take a stance against it. That's why you won't see them, say, oh, this is wrong, or this person has a mental disorder. Like, I asked her, I said, look, I'm familiar with schizophrenic people, right? And I said, you're telling me that is a result of a chemical imbalance in the body, but you also just told me that it's possible for a man to feel like he's a woman as a result of a chemical imbalance. And check this out. I'm going to end the video with this, and I want you to put this in your backpack. If a man can be a woman in society's eyes, why is it when you go to the doctor, if you identify as a woman, even if you had a sex change, they still have to treat you as a man? Think about that for a second. The world can get as confused as they want to get, but the biology of a man and woman is different. And if you mess around and walk into a hospital and you say, well, I'm a woman, but you're really a man, they can mess you up. They can actually kill you by treating you wrong. See? And that's the problem. But we've got to a place in American society where it's offensive to say that I'm more concerned with your feelings than the truth. But the truth is, if you are a man and you go in there talking about you're a woman and they start diagnosing you because there's differences in the biology, and they start diagnosing you as a woman, they can mess you up and diagnose you wrong and kill you. That's something to think about. But when you have these conversations, do it gently, do it in love. Even now, like if my teacher was to watch this video, I ain't even trying to bash her, because what I understand is some people don't have the revelation and some people only know what they know. And that is why it is important. Like when I met with this NBA player, right? I seen somebody comment on Instagram, oh, they play like some Illuminati garbage. Look, we need people everywhere to speak the truth, but it's how you speak the truth. And this is why I don't take full sides on anything. This is why you're not going to see me defend everything Donald Trump does. This is why I don't call myself a Republican. This is why, I don't just defend all police officers. You got to be fair in everything and deal with people individually, right? It's not that all white people are evil. It's not that all gay people are evil. It's not that all black people are thugs and evil and things like that. You judge people on an individual basis, judge their character. That's how a Christian should be walking, not overgeneralizing and things like that. But man, it's crazy in my classrooms, man. I'm telling you, and this is why I talk about politics. There are people out there, like that's their mentality. That's the way that they think about it. And they want to push it on you and your children. Come here, Noah. Come here. Let me get in the camera real quick. I want to show y'all something real quick while I end this video. Hurry up, boy. This is why I talk about the stuff that I'm talking about. Now, I got my young son right here. He handsome or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Being a good boy in school, right? But just imagine by the time he gets to college, not even college, by the time he gets to elementary school, it's already crazy now. And they just gonna get more and more momentum. So if I'm training him up, right, and he makes you love Jesus, right? Jesus is awesome, right? Right, and he loves Jesus. So if he's gonna make a stand for what the Bible says, right, it's gonna be even harder for him. They look at me like I'm crazy in the school. They're like, wait, what are you talking about? That's the stuff that I be thinking about. We gotta train them up, we gotta raise them up, and we gotta cover them in prayers. Same with my baby girl back there. If my boy was like not in the right school right now, because it's worse in some schools, they'll be telling him, oh, you feel like they'll be confusing him. God is not the author of confusion. The devil is the author of confusion. And there's a lot of confusion. So that's why I talk about the things that I talk about, because it's people who are trying to get into position right now so they could pass legislation so they can indoctrinate our children. But that ain't going to happen, right, Pop? That's not going to happen at all. Yes. Give me a hug, boy. You love me? All right, I love you guys. Y'all be blessed. That's my baby Marie in the back.